soldier.
Thank you. I am Stevie Jay. Good morning. It is ESPN 93.5. Good to have you listening. Diane Ducey is off today. Well, President Biden signaling an effort by the White House to reset its relationship with Abu Dhabi after a high-profile list of cabinet officials led by Vice President Kamala Harris took a visit Monday to the UAE. Commentator for Young Voices, Alexandra Hudson, this morning from Indianapolis. Alexandra, how are you?
I'm great, Steve. Thanks for having me this morning.
Good to have you on. Okay. Tell me about Young Voices, first of all. What is that?
Young Voices is a nonprofit public relations firm that elevates young, talented, cross-global voices in the media, in print, and in radio and television. And I've been with them now for coming up on maybe 2.5 years. And they're just an outstanding organization with a lot of talent and media savvy that I'm super grateful to be. I'm a young journalist. I'm an author. My book on civility is coming out with St. Martin's Press. And I'm thrilled to be associated. Young Voices has been such a help in my career so far.
Your phone isn't so good today, Alexandra. I apologize. It's a little muddy. Is there anything we can do to get so I don't miss a word that you say? I don't know if there's anything we can do to improve that. It's not very good.
I'm so sorry. I live in a very historic home. Maybe these brick walls are inhibiting our connection.
That's a little better. That's a little cleaner. A little cleaner.
Oh,
a little
good.
cleaner. Good. Okay, Alexandra Hudson, our guest, Young Voices. Okay, so the price of gas went up overnight again, so it continues to climb. It's over $4 in every state in the union for the first time ever. What's the Young Voices take on that?
I mean, a lot of people are responding to this situation, crying that America should move towards energy independence. That's something we're hearing a lot right now. And it's worth noting that energy independence, that's not becoming an autarky. It's not an isolationist position where we want to depend on nobody in the world. It's not possible in our internet-connected global world. What it does mean, though, is that we should be very cautious about who we get into bed with economically, who we allow ourselves to be dependent on. And it's a classic question of how we are letting our immediate material interests to get in the way of and cause us to contravene or forget our founding ideals of individual liberty and human dignity. For example, being dependent on countries such as Venezuela or Saudi Arabia or OPEC nations that for oil, and that may tempt us to turn a blind eye to human rights and humanitarian violations. So I think that's really what this is about.
We were energy independent, Alexandra. We were like 2 years ago. We were okay, but now because of policy changes, we need to go with our hat in hand and to countries that are not as environmentally careful as the United States of America. And here we are. It's just unbelievable change in 2 years.
That's exactly right. And it's kind of peculiar that Biden has sent this delegation to reinstigate our relationship with UAE halfway across the world when he mixed the Keystone Pipeline initiative with our ally in Canada, a country that shares our Western democratic values of individual liberty and human dignity. And this move only makes us more dependent on countries, again, that don't respect, don't have the same values that we do. And that makes us look like we don't take those ideas seriously. It makes us look like hypocrites on a world stage when we are less able to criticize countries for human rights violations. For example, when the Washington Post columnist Jamil Khashoggi was murdered by the Saudi Arabian government, we were kind of handcuffed. We weren't able to maybe criticize as we otherwise might have, despite that gross violation of human dignity, the sanctity of life, and free speech that we hold close in America.
Yeah, no, this doesn't make a lot of sense at all. I mean, again, it's a far left. It's not even the Democrats, I don't think. It's far left progressives that are wagging the dog, which are called the Democrats in this case. And so we're left with Marxist kind of communistic kind of policy where we're dependent on the government to go find me oil when we have oil right here. Hey, I'm all for green, Alexandra, but I don't think we're going to get there by Sunday. It's going to take a little time.
And it's a great point that, you know, when environmentalists oppose homegrown initiatives such as the Keystone Pipeline that might move us towards energy independence, that only again makes us more dependent on countries around the world. But like, what about the economic cost of bringing the oil around the world to home? You know, it's a little bit short-sighted, and to again not be looking at all of the options that might promote energy independence here at home.
Alexandra Hudson, how do people connect with you?
I'm on social media. Join my newsletter, Civic Renaissance. It's an intellectual community of 100,000 people dedicated to beauty, goodness, and truth, and reviving the wisdom of the past. So if you want a little more beauty, goodness, and truth in your life and want to heal our public discourse with ideas and the wisdom of the past, please join Civic Renaissance. And thank you so much for inviting me on the show.
Good to have you on. Thank you so much, Alexandra Hudson from Indianapolis this morning. Young Voices commentator.